What if your biggest challenges weren't obstacles, but stepping stones to your greatest strength? Email and Coffee sat down with Muxiang Pajerski, whose story redefines what it means to turn adversity into a superpower. From navigating cultural barriers to embracing life's unpredictable turns, Muxiang's journey reveals how facing our struggles head on shapes who we become. Explore this story of how one woman transformed her challenges into catalysts for change. And now, Muxiang Pajerski. Hello, everyone. Joy Brooks with Email and Coffee. Today I'm speaking with, let's see if I get this right, Muxiang Pajerski. Pajerski. Yeah, close enough. I'm learning. In any case, Muxiang, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Joy, for inviting me to this show. My name is Muxiang Pajerski, and Joy, you made it very close. I'm originally from China, and in my past many years, I was in creative field as a graphic designer, then landed a job as a creative manager. I think between that time I met you, we were in the email marketing field, so we had a lot of knowledge exchange. Now, currently, I'm working as a project manager on marketing technology projects in an insurance brokerage company. In life, I'm a wife. I'm a mom of a 14-year-old daughter. And also I have 3 stepchildren. They are all grown-ups. We are very close. I live with my husband and my daughter in Chicago area. And I will probably share more later. That's about it.
Yes. So, I mean, you said you're from China. So, how old were you when you came here?
I was 27 when I came here with very basic English conversation level.
It's English is. I suspect that if I went to China, English is probably easier than Chinese, but it's still difficult to learn. Now, is your husband's family like Pajerski or Pajerski is a Polish name? So are
Yes.
they're from Poland? Are they Americans? Totally Americans?
My husband moved to the US when he was only 16. So he picked up the language much quicker. And also, he's a very smart guy. And he was able to enter college without a problem. And actually, he even graduated as an honor student in 2.5 years. So I guess that's the age. The age makes big difference in language. For me, I had been struggling with the language barriers and other type of challenges for many years. Until very recent years, I picked up public speaking as my hobby because I thought, well, I couldn't speak the language well. It's better to just speak it more. So that's why I have been on many of the social media platforms on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube channel. And also I started my podcast this year after a year and a half doing my daily vlogs. So I have been just constantly learning and trying to make improvements in my English.
Sometimes, what scares you the most is it can drive you to learn the most. But, it takes a lot of courage to say, I'm a bad speaker and I'm jumping into the fire. And you did well. I mean, you did well.
Thank
And
you.
I think you enjoyed yourself along the way.
Yes, I do. And by overcoming all the challenges that I encountered on my journey, it boosted my confidence. I realized that the harsh adversities actually enable us to stretch our abilities
Mhm.
that we may not realize.
Mhm.
Such as when I moved to the United States a few years later, I was pregnant with my daughter, and then I was a full-time student, and the language was not my strong suit. I was in a graphic design program. I had so much homework. I didn't know graphic design program actually required so much homework and writing and reading. So I was constantly doing homework while taking care of my newborn daughter, and also I had to commute from the suburban area in Chicago to the city of Chicago. Every day I spent over 3 hours just on the way, and I had to find spaces in the buildings on campus to pump milk. I know that is crazy. Uh, I believe if the audience is listening, are listening now, if they are moms, probably many of the work moms can relate.
Yes.
But that experience, it was really hard. It's hard. But after I overcame that, I went through that, I felt like I could do that. I can do anything if I want to put my mind into it.
You have you have a creative spirit, and you are constantly pushing your own boundaries.
Yes.
And that's, you know, that's one of your skills. I don't know if everybody has that skill, but that is definitely one of your skills. It's more the ability to take on a challenge
Hmm.
and then enjoy it.
Yes.
Have you ever, well, I know there are other things that you do, and I know that cooking is one of them. So there are other creative things that you do, but have you ever taken on a challenge and found yourself, this is not for me?
Oh,
And yeah,
I did. I did.
sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't work. Sometimes you have to say that this is not me.
Well, the most recent one is during the pandemic. You know, many people started picking up new hobbies and things, right? For me, is I picked up the public speaking because I joined a public speaking club. Uh, so we could join meetings online. That's a great way to socialize, and at the same time, I could practice my language skills and public speaking skills. Another one I picked up is because my husband felt bored and bought a guitar. And a guitar is something that I had been trying many, many times and I failed. So I thought, okay, now we got the opportunity to stay home. And so I got to pick it up again. And my husband obviously just had a 3 day passion. Then left the guitar in the corner. Then I said, okay, let me try it. So I did just we do self teaching by watching videos. I did a few weeks, so something I did this. I the best thing I could do was what's that song? Um, Okay, I did the one on YouTube. Anyway, I just recorded the one song. That's it. I couldn't sing. I could just play that one song. But later I got busy, and then I changed job. Then I just couldn't pick it up again. It's time, and also I just had to say, oh, that challenge I will put later. Maybe when I have a lot more time.
Yeah, the thing is, in many cases, I'm also the type of person, I like to take on some challenges, and I'll take them on. And at some point in time, you're, you're running too many things,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and you've got to decide, okay,
Yeah.
something's got to go, because I can't do 50 things during the day. I'm going to do 50 things badly as opposed to doing 10 things well. So, I recently decided to learn Hebrew,
Okay.
and I haven't given up yet. I'm taking Hebrew lessons every week, and I have said to myself once or twice, "Is this too much?" But the answer hasn't come back no. So I'm going further. It's like when you learned English, it's a different alphabet and language. So there's a difficulty there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just words, it's reading because it's totally different. And
Yeah.
Hebrew's like that, right? Hebrew's also like that. It's a different alphabet
Yeah.
and different sounds. And those are that's the challenge I took on. That's why I took Hebrew. I was like, I could take Spanish, but it's the same alphabet and it's the same sounds, more or less. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to really challenge myself.
Yeah.
Good luck
I
there.
think some challenges in life, if they would provide some kind of a necessity in life to really improve your life, that will provide more motivation. If some of the challenges you simply pick it up and just for hobby, that can easily dropped if
Yeah,
the passion is not there. So
right,
that's
right.
what I noticed.
Yeah. You also this is the first thing that I know. Well, one of the first things that I noticed about you when we connected was the cooking.
Okay.
And not only the cooking, but you can plate it up and photograph it. And that's also not easy. That's not an easy thing. I can cook, but I put it on the plate and it looks like slop and I'm like, it's okay, I'm eating it, no one's here. But there's a presentation there. I hope your family appreciates presentation.
Oh, well, my family doesn't, but I do. I do. I will appreciate my own work, make cooking more fun. Yeah, that's the thing. My family, my husband, my daughter are more, how to say it, practical. They think, what's the point of spending time to plate it so beautifully and then finished eating? It's the same, tastes the same. To me, it's the experience. I always value the experience, no matter what I do. And for cooking, it's the same because they presenting it beautifully give that gives me a sense of accomplishment after cooking. Sometimes cooking itself may not be as fun, but when you are able to present it, increasing appetite and everything just gives a great sense of achievement after the
I,
hard
I,
work.
I
Yeah.
agree. And it's also it's like a different dimension because you've got the food, obviously, and now you're thinking, well, just put it on the plate and sit down and get your fork and knife or chopsticks and eat away and, wash the dishes and we'll be done.
Yeah.
But now you're thinking, you're creative, you're thinking differently. So
Yeah.
the creative mind is, I think everybody has some amount of creativity. It's
Hmm.
just, it's very different along the line. Very
Oh
different.
yeah.
I create with words. Somebody else may, create with speaking or with the work that they do or the presentations that they make. So, along the lines of creativity, you have created, you've created you moved from China, you created a whole life for yourself.
Yeah. I gotta
And,
say that.
that presents quite a number of challenges. Quite a number of
Yeah.
challenges. Hey, you said you had a baby, you were commuting to Chicago to go to school, you needed to pump milk. I mean, you were doing all of these things. You could have just as easily stayed home,
Yes. Yes.
but you sort of pick your battles,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
How, how have what's the thought for your own life, what's the thought pattern? How do you go through that? Like, what does uh, that education bring you into this design, this design job, and then the next steps? Like, you probably even have the next steps in your head because that's the way you are. You're always trying to do the next thing. So, what is the next thing for Muxiang?
Yeah, before talking about the next thing, I want to talk about why it took me here,
Okay.
what took me here. Talking about creativity, I love that. So when I want to talk a little bit about the personal things, how I grew up. I was born during the time like the one-child policy in China started, reinforcement. And I was born as the third daughter in my family, and the boys were valued more. So I was labeled as useless trash by my grandparents as soon as I was born. And actually, that hurtful words accompanied me until I went to college in China. And so grew up, I was totally neglected and like I didn't really get any attention. And it's ironically, it's a one-child policy during one-child policy because my family was so strongly wanted to have a boy. That's why I was born. So then my brother was born 3 years later. Uh, yeah, I was totally just ignored. Actually, I couldn't imagine. Even now, I went back to hometown and I saw those narrow paths. Like I played and walked without any supervision, and many of the cliffs like around, nobody paid attention. So that's why I was falling all the places and getting injured, and so I didn't die. That's a miracle. Totally, like I felt like, and I was born with a very positive personality. I thought that's really now I just feel like it's a gift. I really
Mm.
thank my parents for that gift. For me, that's my surviving power. So whenever I was able to, I would like to, because I have this personality, I like to express my feelings, my opinions. I'm talkative, but I was constantly being ignored. So I had to raise my hand all the time, going into places I have to get attention. So that perhaps set the good foundation for me to advocate for myself whenever I need the opportunity to stretch myself. Such as when I was in high school, I was speaking Chinese with my village accent. I got laughed at. And when there were like recital contests or something, I never get the opportunity. They didn't even give me the opportunity to enter. All those are very painful, but I didn't accept that, but I couldn't change it. So those scenarios just lingering in my head. I just had to do something to prove them wrong. That's just how I survived. I got to show
Very
I
strong
have
person.
the ability. I have the ability. You I just have to get the opportunities to show. And then in middle school, just by chance, I participated in an art entry contest. And then I won the district third. Like I had no foundation. I got the very first set of color markers from my elder sister who went to another big city to work. So she got me that gift. And I had no foundation, no experience at all. And then I won the third in that district. Then put me onto the path for art. Like I had no idea. So the teachers said, "Oh, you should go for art, and it's easier to get into the college." And going to the college is my only way to move out of the poverty and change my whole life. So that's why I just went on and get to the art and then graphic design. After that, I worked as a graphic designer for several years. Then I was spotted by another boss to to have a startup company for the real estate, like products, like importing and
And
trading
this is still in China? This is still in
in
China.
China. Yes, from startup, from hiring to administrative work to general management work. And when I met my husband in China. Uh, when I was working in marketing and management. But marketing and management all requires language skills, communication skills. So when I moved to the United States, all of a sudden I have to learn a skill to survive. Even though, as you mentioned earlier, I could just stay at home, and which was provided by my husband and offered by my husband. But I thought education is something that I can carry with myself, regardless how the world changes. What I know is something nobody can take away from me. So that's why I was so strongly wanting to get a degree in the United States too. So that's why I went back to school from English as a second language to getting a degree in graphic design again. Then from a junior graphic designer to a creative manager, now a project manager. Sorry, it took long to
You have, I mean, maybe you're trying to prove your parents wrong, and that's where this is all coming from. But it's not an angry
no,
energy.
no,
It's like it's totally life.
yeah,
You're just going. You're going to prove them wrong and enjoy yourself. You're
uh-huh,
not a waste of. You're not a waste of the spirit.
yeah,
You are the spirit, and you've proven that to yourself over and over again. I
yes.
guess now it's time for you to share that with other people.
Yeah, I I thought sometimes the power within us is stronger. Like how we define our life is really up to us. I really loved that the word you used, creation, creativity. I created. We can create our life. What kind of life we want to have. We can change something we can control, such as I was born as a girl who wasn't loved, who wasn't wanted, that I couldn't change. But I can change is see if there's an opportunity for me to show I can do something, I would take it. I would do it to show it to myself and also to the people around me that it's possible. And of course, I feel incredibly lucky too, such as my first boss who valued me, and then the second boss who spotted me also valued me. And then I came to the United States. Most people are so supportive and so nice. And including like my husband's ex-wife's family, including just the people are just so nice. I I know it's a mutual feeling. They also thought I'm a very nice person. So I thought people are very nice, such as meeting you. We are total strangers just because I have been sharing my life, sharing my progress in English, in language skills improvement, and also cooking, and also life. And that's how we get to a much deeper connection.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I do believe that, but it's also the way you do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's so totally refreshing. I don't like to use the word authentic, but it's so you
Yeah. Thank
that your creativity, I mean, it shows its head in almost everything that you do. It's how you do it, how you approach it. Um, you're you're solving problems along the way in such a way that it's that initial spirit that you have. It's you want to not only prove it to yourself, you want to take the challenge. You want to prove it to
you.
yourself.
Yes.
Well, I think that's all that it is. You're not trying to necessarily prove to others that I'm better than you. You're
Hmm.
saying to yourself, I could do this.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
could do this. And then once you know how to do this, you want to share how you do this with others. So you could say, you could do this too. And this
Yes.
is how I did it.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's what I
it's
have been doing. Yeah.
it's very clear. I mean, it is clear to me that's the way it's going, and
Thank you.
it's very, it's refreshing, more than authentic. It's very refreshing because today many people uh, are trying to make something of themselves, but they're trying to do it. The word passive income comes to mind. Everybody's trying to find passive income.
Hmm.
Oh, I'll do a podcast and when I said I was doing a podcast, people said, oh, you're going to get a sponsor? I'm like, no. Well, how are you going to make money off of it? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's the reason I'm doing this.
Hmm. Yeah.
What is the reason you're doing this? I don't know. And I'm trying to prove something to myself that I
Hmm.
could do
Yeah.
this. And
Yes.
along the line of doing these things, there is this lesson that you learn personally, and that takes you along the lines to it's the path to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing.
Yeah.
So is there a next thing for you? Like, I know that like you said,
Yeah.
you decided to do public speaking and other things, but are you taking on any other projects or
Actually, that's a great question. This is a question actually recently I had with my boss at
uh-huh.
work. Uh, in my entire life, I wouldn't say I'm the type of person who plan everything out because I didn't have this habit of already have the life planned out because I don't know how to expect what's coming in a way because apparently nothing that I have now, like the life I have living in, wasn't even in my dream. So sometimes we just keep changing our goals, our plans. Uh, what I do, I guess I do well is always seize the moment, seize the uh, present possibility and the opportunities I have. I do have the conversation with my boss, also myself, because my boss noticed that you are so talented in so many ways. Feel like my current job hasn't really maximized my potential. And I agree. And then she said, so what do you truly want? And to be honest, it's hard to describe what I truly want. So, uh, based on what ChatGPT knows about me, I asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT said you could be a great leader. Like just show your passion in the industry and showing what you know and you love mentoring others, which is true. That's what I love, and I love that what ChatGPT tells me. So now I'm a little bit more clear about the future, but I don't know if I will reach it. I'm thinking about maybe in some number of years, hopefully I can become a chief marketing officer. The reason is that recently I just interviewed our chief marketing officer for my podcast. be aligned with Muxiang. And I thought a lot of the things that he does and his mindsets actually are really aligning with mine. And I thought with my graphic design marketing skills and digital marketing skills and email marketing skills, and now with all the technology, marketing technology skills and management, I thought that's just naturally should fall to that role. That's why that role just come into my mind. I don't know if I will be brave enough to tell my boss about it, but maybe I would do that because it's my whole life. Is that I need to tell people what I want, then I will get. I have the opportunity to get it. If I don't share what I want, people wouldn't know. I even don't know. So, um, yeah, so that's the career goal. And also ultimate goal is I hope I will be able to, provide some type of coaching and training, as a side hustle, and hopefully eventually will become the passive income stream in the future. That's a long-term goal, of course. Yeah. I don't know how long it will take.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't imagine myself actually now I'm able to teach a class for pronunciation,
Mhm.
which is like I couldn't think of when I brought this up. Actually, my family would laugh at me. 3 years ago, when I told them I was going to give a speech internationally, they said that's probably like landing on the moon. That type of difficulties, but it's not that hard. Recently, the corporate actually reached out to me to give a workshop about personal branding, and I have been talking to professionals about leadership and things. So I just keep sharing what I know. I don't have a hard deadline for myself, have to reach what, but I just keep my daily routine. Like in the morning, I exercise, I practice English, and then I do my job. Like when I'm doing my job, I 100% be there. When I'm watching TV, I'm 100% be there. When I'm with my friends, I'm 100% there. That's just how I do my best at the moment that I can.
Mhm. You're as you were speaking, in my mind I saw a flower opening.
Okay.
And you're like that flower, like we don't know what the flower is. It's like
Yeah.
there's a weed on the ground. Oh,
Yes.
look, there's a flower in the weed. Oh, it's opening. What is it?
Yeah.
And you're like opening, and all these things are, all these little surprises are coming. Oh, look, it's got so many petals. Oh, look, it's this color. You just keep surprising everybody.
Yeah. Thank you,
And
Joy. Yeah.
I think this way. It could be good, it could be bad. But um
You know what I imagined myself when I was young, even in the last many, many years, even now, is I'm the grass, like being stepped on, and when the rain comes, I will I will grow again. And when if I'm burned, my roots is there. As long as my root is there, I will grow back again. So I have been telling people, including my sisters, they also said, like I'm like a grass, like a just couldn't kill the grass. And now, as you mentioned, that now the grass is growing bigger, become a bush, become having flowers, started
yeah,
blooming.
it's blooming. That's
Cute.
interesting. Are your sisters, you had two other sisters and a brother. There was
Yes,
four in the family.
yes.
So your sisters are still in China?
My two sisters are in Hong Kong, but
Okay.
part of China. Yeah.
And they did they prove anything to your parents?
Oh,
Are
yeah.
they like
Oh,
yes?
yes, yes, yes.
Good.
Three of us actually experienced all different types of difficulties. Uh, Whenever I talk about my eighth sister, what she experienced, actually I go very emotionally. Recently, my second elder sister wrote a book about my elder sister. Hope one day I'm able to share that book and with you guys. And the publisher actually uh, wanted to publish that book because my elder sister experienced is really not many people can get over.
Mm-hmm.
But now she is like me. She's very positive and she's so grateful. She lives a very happy life in Hong Kong.
Good.
Yes, we three of us proved my grandparents, the whole generation run, also my parents, my father. When we grew up, to be honest, I never remembered my father actually gave me a hug or never. Also,
Never.
my mom was so busy surviving because she just tried to survive because she gave birth to three
Three
girls.
girls.
She was so mistreated. So she was simply surviving. And I grew up with all the like domestic violence, seeing my father beating my mom. And so I simply wanted to just survive. And definitely after we are adults and we proved my father and my grandparents wrong. But that's not the goal anymore, as you mentioned. We are just taking challenges on our own and creating our own lives that are better than we ever thought that could be.
Right. So life can be a little miracle, you know.
Yeah.
Life can be a little miracle. And what about your brother?
Oh, my brother also turned out very responsible and successful in his way. Yeah, when he went to college, I supported his college tuition. Even though I make very little, but for some reason we were able to scrabble and make that work. And now he lives in Shenzhen with his family, and my parents are still in my hometown village, and they live a very good elderly life. And my mom actually enjoys the senior life that is better than most of the other people who actually mistreated her when we were little. Yeah.
She also had something to prove to herself.
She did. She said that she was. She's always proud. Said, "I didn't give up." That's the biggest thing she did. She didn't leave us. She didn't abandon us. She also didn't take her life. So
Mm.
all that
Mm.
was good choice, and she thought she is very proud of her for raising us up. Yeah.
It took quite a lot, you know. It took quite a lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, I don't know what it's like growing up in China. I have a few friends, my neighbors from South Korea,
Mm-hmm.
an old boss of mine. She was very young when she came from China. Um, but what is I mean, you were 27 years old. You were a young woman when you came from China. You know, uh, what's life like in China?
Oh, actually, life in China, if it's in the city, it's very nice, very convenient. Uh, you got almost like everything within reach, and just stressful like most of the city life, busy, but overall it's very interesting. Like we had we often went to karaoke and also dance like bars. Also weekend we could go to parks and shopping malls. Like here, people don't really go to shopping malls just for hang out. In China, you go to shopping malls for just to hang out. There are restaurants in there. There are movie theater in there. It's very modern. Well, it's
Mhm.
very modern. So when we travel now, when we visit China, we simply enjoy those convenience and massage and food. Everything is pretty nice. But back, I don't know if you're talking about the time when I left China or the time when I grew up. So it's totally different.
Totally different.
Totally different. When I grew up, we barely had food to eat.
Mm.
So, and I still remember the best snack or best treat that we had, I remember, was sugar cane and also, or occasionally popsicle. Someone from the town to go to the village to sell popsicle. And that probably like once in a blue moon thing, like so rare. And for sugar cane, it also from a different city or from different place because we live in the mountain area, very rural. So even if my father bought sugar cane, my brother had to have the sugar cane first. Unless there is so much extra, otherwise we couldn't have it. Just imagine that he would chew. I don't know if you know the sugar cane. He would chew the sugar cane, get the most about it, and I would pick the sugar cane to taste it. I that I actually myself I have a very bad memory because I think when I was 10 years old, I also had an accident because we live. In the village, we burn coal. The coal would, it's called what's, um, CO, how to say that?
CO2?
Yeah, CO, what's that? Suddenly I forgot the term. Anyway, I got poisoned from the coal.
CO2. Yeah,
It's CO, yeah, yeah,
the chemicals that
chemical, yeah,
it releases the exhaust.
yeah. So
So
yeah,
you got
memory was pretty poor, but my mom keeps telling me those moments and stories. So I still kind of seems like I remember, but I don't know if it's what my mom told me. Occasionally have those moments. Yeah.
must have been I don't know, must have been hard for three girls who are all older than the brother to watch the brother get everything. But
Yeah.
you still have and you still have a family.
hmm
Everyone's
Yes.
still
Yes.
together. It's not that you ever would write him off and say I'll never talk to him again.
No, no. Yeah, we have I gotta say, we are very lucky to have each other, and we are very transparent. We trust each other. My elder sister supported my second sister and me for school, and then I supported my brother for his school, and we just like um carried this support for each other. And after we have our own families, we still keep very close relationship. And in China, we have to support my parents. Usually in China, that can create a tension in the family. But for us, we also communicate very openly. If we have different opinions, we just share opinions. So now we are very close. I just think we're very, very lucky.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think that is your father still alive, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Is your father aware of how he thought and how he thinks now? Like, has that changed him at all, or is he still that same old guy?
It's strange. We never hold any hatred or all that feeling towards him because we just grew up with that type of culture. So
Yes.
we were still grateful for his support, and we were able to go to school. At least we were allowed to go to school. Some fathers may not even allow that, and but he was very strange. He was so nice to the whole world, like all our relatives, but he wasn't really showing that he was proud of us at all until maybe very recent years. And he thought, okay, now I can't rely on others. We have to rely on you. So finally, his attitude changed a little bit in the recent years. But my mom and my father are still fighting every day. That's just their life, and we have been trying to be their parents for many years. We failed and just let them be them, and now they
Yeah.
just keep each other company.
It's you know, there are many times when my folks are gone, but there are many times when I think back to my mother and father, and I realize that there's no instruction book for
Mm-hmm.
life. You know, uh, aside from if you have religion, there's no real instructions for life. And the things that my folks did or didn't do, I try now not to hold it against them.
No.
They did the best they could. That's
Mm-hmm.
not perfect. That's not
Yeah.
right. That's not wrong.
Yeah.
They tried to, within their culture, what they thought was right, that's what they did. And as soon as you do that, or you try to do that, um, I don't know, there's something to be said for gratitude.
Yeah.
You're just grateful for what you
Yeah.
had. Suddenly it's not like, oh, well, I could have been a swimmer. If they'd only let me, swim, I could have been an Olympic swimmer. Why didn't they let me swim?
Mm-hmm.
And you could be kind of angry over that. And then I think to
Mm-hmm.
myself, when I came out of college, not that I wanted to be an Olympic swimmer. When I came out of college, I wanted to be an archaeologist. And I said to my mom, she said, what are you going to do now? And I said, I want to go to the American Academy in Athens, and I want to become an archaeologist. And when I say this, I mean this. She said, over my dead body. And I was like,
No.
okay. So I'm not going to get support from mom and dad about this. And I went to work and I got a job. And
Mm-hmm.
I saved up my money, and there's a company called Earthwatch that they do a lot of things for volunteers. So they arrange trips, different types of trips for volunteers. And one of the trips that they will arrange is through colleges where colleges are doing archaeological digs and they need extra people.
Mm.
So I went to Israel. I did a dig in Israel, and I did a dig
Wow.
in Maryland. And as it turns out, in the long run, I tried to see, is there a career path in here for me? And it turned out there wasn't. It just turned out that way. It wasn't my mother saying over my dead body. I tried on my own, and
Yeah.
I thought maybe not. And then, and this was in the 80s and the early 90s, then there wasn't a rich digital opportunity for me. There was no, it's like you're going to teach, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
go on archaeological digs, and you're going to teach, and you're going to write papers. That's the path.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can do. I mean, there are so many things you could do. What I wish, and the only regret that I have, and there's nothing I could do about it, The only regret that I have is that had I known there was production for television and movies and documentaries for history type of shows, right? For like history documentaries, that's where I would have gone. That's where I would have gone. But there wasn't that opportunity then. There is now, but there
Yeah.
wasn't really then. It was just beginning. So, you know, and I don't regret anything because I say to myself now, well, you know what? I can still see if there's a road, a path that way. And that's how my flower unfurls. I also, I don't try to make a plan. I sort of go forward and I look for opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I see an opportunity that intrigues me, and it could be completely blind. It could just be like, oh, that's interesting. And I'll say to myself, why? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just saying, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then I'll investigate and I'll get to a point where like, no, not interesting. It was just curiosity. Or I'll get to a point where like, oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
And that's really that's how I navigate.
Yeah, same here. Wow. We can definitely resonate with each other. Yeah, regardless from cooking or from working or from my life, basically is whatever ingredients there, I would make it work. But however way work the best possible way I can with that ability, that time. That's just
Right.
how that's the lesson that I have been constantly trying to teach my daughter. She is currently a teenager. Sometimes it's hard for her to handle challenges from school or some small things she would perceive huge failure. But with my experience, I said whatever comes in your way, that's just the experience, the things you will get actually will enrich your life later on. Even now, if you fail this test, you got the opportunity to learn it again to do differently. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's difficult. I remember being a kid. It was a long time ago. I remember
Hmm.
being a kid, and it was very difficult. I can't imagine being a kid now. There's so much more to learn. There was a
Yeah.
lot to learn then,
Yeah.
but there were other activities that that I was engaged in. And today there are so many activities, so much to learn, so much going on that I think sometimes I don't have kids. I think sometimes these children have like it's sort of like they're living a life and all they have is bugs buzzing around their heads all the time. And
Hmm.
they're very they interfere with your life. It's like what? I it's it must be difficult for kids to either fit in or say, I don't fit in, but I'm going to make my own way. Because I don't think I didn't fit in. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I did not fit in. And I tried to fit in. And in trying to fit in, I learned that I shouldn't try to fit in. But it took 20 years after being young to realize
Hmm.
that's what I was doing, that I was trying to find my own way.
Hmm.
And hey, it's painful. And I'd say, you know what? For the first 40 years of your life, that's what it's all about, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, in those and in 20 years of that life, sometimes you're getting married, you're having kids, but you're still trying to figure out
Yeah.
who am I? What is this little miracle that's me? What is
Hmm.
it? What
Yeah.
is it? And you keep building on that. Once you find it, and it's like a kernel. Again, it's like that flower. It's a little bud. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm a cherry blossom. Okay, I got it now. So let's just see what happens.
Hmm.
And then maybe you'll say, no, I I think I made a mistake. I'm not a cherry blossom. I'm an apple blossom. The point is that you do need to be able to pivot, right? You do need to be able to say, well, I thought I was going to go this way, and gracefully say, but I'm going that way.
Yeah.
And everyone does that. But some people feel that they can't pivot because they're saying, but I told everybody I was a cherry blossom, so I must be a cherry blossom. You don't have to do that. You don't lose face if you're saying, well, I thought it was a cherry blossom, but I'm really an apple blossom. Then, let me go because I got an apple to make and not a cherry. So,
Yeah.
and then,
Right.
It's life is surprising like that.
Yeah.
Life is very surprising like that.
I agree. It's very surprising. And sometimes, even if you perfect plan something, it will not fall the same way that you planned out. So having the open mind, open mind, and also flexibility to adapt to the situation and still stay positive, stay present as who you are. At the same time, do the best that you can adjust to the new situation. That's just how I did. The good thing is I have this strong will. I wouldn't like to completely change myself for anything, but at the same time, I keep stretching myself to learn the things I'm not able to do. Like at my current job, we did a personality discovery. When we entered the company, I discovered my personality is just like extroverted, like sunshine, like very open and full of ideas. That's my primary color, primary personality. But I'm combined with all other types of things like dreaming and also considerate. And even though analytical part is so small, but it's still part of me. If I really truly want to learn, I guess I can learn. It's just not something I'm passionate about. So yeah, knowing all that we have this ability, have this possibility that we are able to learn and grow into is a great, it's liberating. How to say? It's liberating. It's really empowering.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I think that people need, this is my only statement with regard to identity. It's our identities are not chiseled in stone.
Yes. Totally.
And they're we're going to go back to the flower. They're opening up like a flower.
Yeah.
And we need to give them enough nourishment to allow them to grow. And so challenging yourself and being open to, just like you may think, I definitely want orange juice. And somebody says, have you ever tried pomegranate juice? No. Try it. Okay. Oh, this is great. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's really that simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Just
And
that simple.
and you just keep going. It's not that you don't like orange juice anymore. It's just that now sometimes I drink pomegranate juice. And that's really the journey. That's the power of the journey. And that doesn't mean that you've changed. That just means you're continuing to grow. Something my mother once said to me that I never liked. And I sort of have grown in a similar way that you did by being that child that they were like, oh, girl, oh my God. My mother would always say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I always said, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And I'm going to prove to you that you can.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm constantly learning new things.
Yes.
Because the last thing I want to be is that old person that's so set in their ways.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
I have lots of opinions, and people will be the first to say, oh, Joy's really opinionated. But I'll be honest when I say that I have lots of opinions and they could change on a dime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just go ahead and prove it to me, and
Yes.
I'll change my mind,
Yeah.
you know?
I love that. Yeah.
And it's that simple. Like someone said to me, oh, you ought to travel more. And I'm like, well, I'm not really ready to travel. I'm looking for that special person to travel with. I don't want to travel by myself. I go through this whole thing about that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, but you ought, you really ought to travel. And it's not that I'm not going to ever travel again. It's just that I'm looking for that right opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
because the last thing I want to do is spend lots of money and have a bad experience.
Mm.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's expensive to travel, and to travel alone is, when you're older, it's exhausting,
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
constantly thinking, no one knows where I am or who I am or what I am, and that matters. I need to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
I need
Just,
to protect myself.
yeah.
When you're young, you can run. When you're old, you're like, not so fast.
Yeah. Just like everything else, just follow your heart. Yeah. If
Right.
you don't feel comfortable, maybe to some people traveling is a great way to spend alone, but to some people just like you probably gardening, you feel more uh having more peace and more happiness from it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's different.
I travel. I'm traveling into my garden. That's where I'm traveling. I'm traveling down the road with the dogs to walk them. That's where I'm traveling. I at this point, that's not to say that if somebody doesn't say to me, "Oh, let's go to Greece together," and I'm like, "Yes, that's the person to travel to Greece with," that I
Mhm.
wouldn't go. I would. Just
Yeah.
haven't found that person yet.
Yeah. Great. Hope you will find that person to travel
Don't
with
you? Yeah.
soon. Yeah.
I sort of. It is one of the
Bucket
the
list.
antenna is out there. The antenna is out there,
Yeah.
and it's like, if the opportunity comes up, my head will go, "What?" It really will. It
Yeah.
really will.
Yeah.
But there are always many things that I'm aware that have potential,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm aware of that. That doesn't mean that they will happen
Yeah.
or they won't happen. They have
Yeah.
potential of happening.
Yeah.
And you're sort of like, you've got two bricks and you're holding them and you're going, I could build a house.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I could build a wall. Or I could just like put the bricks down and do something else. There's a lot of potential out there. You just have to be aware of what the potential is.
Yeah. Being aware of there are multiple possibilities is great. Yeah. So it means we have choices.
We have
Yeah.
choices.
We have
That's
choice.
very important.
Just make the choice that fits our heart or follows our heart at the moment. Sometimes there's no perfect choice. It's just the right choice at that time. Yeah. And having the open mind for all types of possibilities is a great way to just embrace any situations and turn challenges to opportunities. Yeah.
Very good. Do you have any last things to say to the audience? Any tips? Anything that's on your mind that you'd like to share?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Joy. Last thing I want to share, I think you brought up earlier, is like just being I know you don't like to use authentic. I would like to use it. Just being authentic self. And when we feel free, we are at our best position to to reach our goals or to perform the work in the best way possible. So just be the true self and seize the moment and enjoy what we have. Still keep the mind of for reaching height, like reaching heights. So new hats. I don't know if it's such a big, such big advice, but I think just enjoying the moment is something that we can do. We can't change the past, and we can't control tomorrow. So just enjoy the moment and
Yeah,
do
the
what
more
the
you're in the
best
moment,
you can.
the more you're in the moment, that's where you recognize the opportunity,
Yeah, yeah,
because you could see when you're really in that moment, and it sounds like it's another authentic word when you're in the moment, but when you're focused on doing whatever you're doing. So
yes,
listening to music, or if you're watching television, or if you're cooking, or if you're talking, having a conversation with somebody, whatever you're doing, if you're focused on that, that's when you see the opportunities.
yes,
And when I say see the opportunities, it may be an opportunity to ask a question. It may be an opportunity to learn some more. It may be an opportunity to listen to some music and to feel something. I'm not saying these opportunities are like to become the president of the United States. I'm
hmm,
merely saying there are a lot of opportunities.
yes, yeah,
And the more you focus on the microsecond, and and pour yourself into it, the more you'll get out of it.
yeah,
And in the
totally.
beginning, it's difficult,
Mm-hmm.
because we like to multitask. So,
Yeah,
you might be listening to something, and you're getting some work done, and you're cooking something in the background. And what ends up happening is you burn the meal, you don't listen to what you're listening to, and you have to keep on looking at what you're doing 5 times because don't do that.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sometimes you can do two things at once.
mm-hmm.
But what I've learned is that that concept of multitasking is not the best all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Focus, right?
Yeah,
Focus.
focus. Yeah, that's a great point. Also, added to that is being persistent. If we want to master something, get good at something, no matter it's learning a language or exercise or just doing the podcast or doing what you are doing now, interviewing, just keep doing that. As long as you enjoy it and keep doing it, be persistent. Eventually, you don't know what will come out. Usually, the outcomes are good. I
Yes.
would say,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Where can people find you? Like Facebook, things like that. Where
I would love to connect with our audience on LinkedIn and YouTube. On Facebook, I'm more like for close family and friends in life. But I would love to be connected on
I will
LinkedIn.
put those links below
Great. Thank you so much.
for LinkedIn and YouTube.
It's been such a such an honor to be here to talk about life, about work, about the whole journey with you, Joy.
I appreciate you coming on. It's you might think that you're just an ordinary person. The point is, we're all just ordinary people.
Yes.
Even those people that you might admire, that inspire you. The
Hmm.
odd thing is that they were inspired themselves, so you're inspiring someone else. It's just everyone's connected. Don't
Yes.
underestimate yourself, and
Mm.
always do the best. And that's you all along. Do the best.
Yes.
That should be
Thank
your
you.
name.
Thank you so much, Joy. When I met, before meeting my husband, that's I get to know. Before meeting my husband, actually, I had my online profile as a single woman, as a common girl. I just always think I'm just so ordinary, so common. But yeah, as you said, no matter how common or ordinary, everyone has unique strengths,
That's right.
qualities, and
And
different
someone is
identity.
looking up to you. You
Yeah,
may not
thank
know
you.
that,
Yeah,
but someone is looking up to you.
yeah,
Someone is, and it may surprise you, And that's why we should always do our best.
Yes.
I don't even, there's lots of choices, but the biggest choice of all, do the best thing you can do. Just, it may not be, we're not going to the moon here,
Yeah.
but you could still do the best you can, in the little things that you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
When I was doing the vlogs, my purpose of doing my daily vlogs for the last almost 2 years was the core message was finding extraordinary in ordinary.
Right.
Yeah. So I believe our audience, if you don't feel your life is extraordinary, just change the perspective. Actually, even during the very modern, ordinary day, we can find something so extraordinary and we can appreciate and enjoy. And so
That's beautiful. That's exactly what I believe. And that's how I wake up every day, looking for the extraordinary.
yeah. You are extraordinary, Joy. You are extraordinary. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this to our audience and for giving me this opportunity to share. And I
Thank you.
wish you great health and happiness and success. And also to our audience, wish you great success and enjoy the extraordinary in ordinary.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And that's a wrap.
Thank you, Joy.
You're welcome.